Minister, the recent opening and then closing of the organic scheme was really disappointing. In the 225 applications, only 55 were successful in the end. One of the reasons, and lots of farmers who've put a huge amount of money and training and attention to that are bitterly disappointed. It seems to us one of the reasons, and I understand in terms of horticulture particularly, is it that there was only one successful application at a time when we want to expand our horticultural production. 70% imports at the moment of horticultural fruit and vegetable in this country. I'm asking that you review the whole process and actually reconsider a lot of those applications to look to see. One issue is the land size. The promotion of larger farms within the assessment criteria is one of the reasons why it was so unsuccessful at real cost.
Initial response.
Thank you, Cahill. Thank you, Deputy. The organic farming scheme is one of the most successful schemes under our current rural development programme. A budget of €56 million was allocated to fund the scheme opened during the period 2014 to 2020, which was the largest allocation ever to an organics support scheme. The scheme has more than achieved its target in terms of new land converted and the maintenance of organic land. Latest figures indicate that there are now some 72,000 hectares under organic production, an increase of nearly 50% on the position at the start of the programme in 2014. The organic farming scheme was reopened last year on a targeted basis on foot of a recommendation from the Organic Sector Strategy Group. This group included representatives from a broad range of stakeholders, among them the farming organisations, processors and organic control bodies. Following assessment by the group, it recommended targeted sectors for which there is a clear market demand and which are critical to the future development of the organic sector, namely horticulture, cereals and dairy. There was acknowledgement that the budget was limited given the success of the current scheme and the overall spending within the RDP. It's important to note that the selection criteria used could only be revised within the parameters approved by the Commission under the RDP. It should also be noted that based on the selection criteria used, the predominant farming enterprises in 90% of the unsuccessful applications were not in the targeted sectors. While a maximum of 50 marks could be obtained in respect of the size of the farm, the sectoral balance enterprise marking was weighted in favour of targeted enterprises. The horticultural enterprises, which tend to be smaller in size, gained a maximum of 50 under this criteria. This was a targeted reopening, and I fully expect that there will be a new organic scheme under the next Common Agricultural Policy. Ranking and selection criteria to facilitate assessment of applications will be reviewed and may be revised in that context, that is, that of a new scheme being at a later stage.
First supplementary, Deputy.
Minister, could you confirm of those 55, how many are in the horticultural sector? I've heard what you said, and we can read the terms and conditions, that there is a calibration to try and support that. But it seems to me that it's singularly failed. And I think it's, rather than just waiting for the next scheme, the next cap, which is probably going to be delayed, probably we're talking 2022 now, or before that's finally agreed, we need to act now to bring some of the Irish market, as I said, in horticulture, just to pick on that one. We're currently importing 70% of a very rapidly growing market demand for horticultural products. We've Irish farmers out on Stephen's Green today rightly saying that they're actually the ones losing out because they can't get the higher price that they need to survive. This is one of the ways that we could achieve the diversification, the higher prices and profitability we need. Can you tell me what are the numbers of horticulture farmers approved in the scheme? And if Europe was to agree a revision, whether you would go back and look at some of the failed applications?
Minister.
Just on the specific point, there was 2 applications, 1 accepted, 1 failed. Two applied. The biggest sector, I'll give you the breakdown of the unsuccessful applicants. There was 5 in cereals, 70 in beef, 28 in lamb. I'll bring it back to the press statement when I opened the scheme, that this was on the recommendation of the group, which had all the stakeholders, that this would be targeted in the areas of specific market deficit. And if you look at in my opening response, there was 50 marks, yes, based on size, but 50 marks based on the area aid, on the sectoral areas that people were involved in. Nobody, in my press statement last year, I said this was going to be ranked on the basis of those priority schemes, on foot of the strategy group's recommendation. Just in regard to the other point about the delay, the transitionary arrangements for the next Common Agricultural Policy will allow us the opportunity to try and get this scheme, a new scheme in place. I think this, is, as I said, it has been the most successful scheme that we've run in the department, up to 12 million next year. And I think there is real market opportunities and we need to grow it. And we will work to get a new scheme open as soon as possible. I say this was an extension of the scheme, and the budget provided is double what was anticipated.
30 seconds, please.
Minister, we have a real problem if there's only 2 applications in horticulture. I mean, if that was our most target, that was the first one mentioned of the 3 targeted areas, and if, as you say, and I clearly have the details, we only have 2 applications, I would say that there's need on that particular sector to me an immediate review, an immediate effort to try and ignite some activity and interest and in the horticultural sector. It has particular characteristics, particular needs. We need Irish horticulture. The fact there's only 2 applications in this scheme is really a sign of that this needs urgent attention, not any delay.
Final 30 seconds.
I set up an organic strategy group last year. This is one of the recommendations. You might be aware that they published a forward implementation programme and plan that deals with all the issues, and I'd advise that maybe you'd study that.